10-year-old Juan Pablo looks at his father and asks, "Papi, why is everyone afraid of you?" Pablo Escobar freezes. He knew this question would come, but he didn't think it would come this early. Now he has to make a choice. Will he lie to his son or tell him the truth? In the next 10 minutes, Pablo will give his son the most important lesson of his life. And this lesson will change Juan Pablo's future, the family's fate, and even Pablo's own end. But first, let's go back to the beginning of the story. If you're enjoying this story, we post new Pablo Escobar stories every single day. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of them. Now, to understand how a father's 10-minute lesson changed a family's destiny, we need to go back to the beginning of that night. 1987, Medellin, one of Pablo's safe houses. At 2:30 a.m., the house is silent. His wife Maria and daughter Manuela are sleeping. But the light in Pablo's room is on. Pablo is sitting at his desk, reviewing documents. The work never ends. Cartel business, new routes, rival threats, government pressure, every day a new problem, every night a new plan. The door opens slightly. A small head peeks inside. Juan Pablo, 10 years old, dark-haired like his father, curious eyes. "Papi," he whispers, "you're still awake?" Pablo smiles. He sets his papers aside. "Come in, hijo. Why aren't you sleeping?" Juan Pablo enters in his pajamas, slippers on his feet. He comes to Pablo and sits in the chair. He looks at his father. "I was thinking," Juan Pablo says. "What were you thinking about?" Juan Pablo hesitates. His small hands are clasped in his lap. Then he asks, "Papi, why is everyone afraid of you?" Pablo's smile fades. He slowly leans forward, looking into his son's eyes. "Why would you think that?" "At school," Juan Pablo says, "the kids are talking. They say, when people hear your name, they get scared. Even the teachers. One day in class I mentioned your name. The teacher went silent. Everyone looked at me, like I said something wrong." Pablo leans back, takes a deep breath. This moment was coming. He knew it. Every father has to tell his son the truth one day. But Pablo's truth is complicated. "Juan Pablo," Pablo says in a soft voice, "come here." Juan Pablo stands up, comes to his father. Pablo lifts him onto his lap, strokes his son's hair. "I'm going to ask you a question," Pablo says. "Do you love me?" "Of course, Papi. I love you very much." "And do I love you?" Juan Pablo nods. "Yes." "Then know this," Pablo says. "Everything I do is to protect you and your mother and Manuela. Do you understand?" Juan Pablo nods, but there's still a question in his eyes. Pablo continues. "People are afraid of me because I'm powerful, and I know how to use power. But power is used for two things, to harm or to protect. Which one do you use it for?" Juan Pablo asks. Pablo pauses. The answer isn't simple. "I use it for both. Sometimes I have to harm because I need to protect us. The world is a dangerous place, hijo. And there are dangerous people. They want to hurt families like ours. I don't let them. Does that make you a bad man?" The question pierces Pablo's chest, the hardest question from his 10-year-old son's mouth. Pablo holds his son's face with both hands. "Juan Pablo, I'm going to tell you something. And never forget this. The world isn't black and white. There are good people, there are bad people. But most people are somewhere in between. I'm not a perfect man. I've made mistakes, I've done bad things, but I did everything for a reason, to protect you." "But Papi," Juan Pablo says, his voice trembling, "the kids call you a drug lord. What does that mean?" Pablo closes his eyes. This is the real moment. No more escape. It means, he says slowly, that I'm someone who does illegal things. I sell things to people that are forbidden, and this made me rich, very rich. But at the same time, it made me a big target. The government is looking for me, police are looking for me, my rivals want to kill me, and every day, every hour, I'm fighting to stay alive. To stay alive for you. Juan Pablo's eyes fill with tears. Are you going to be killed, Papi? Pablo hugs his son tightly. No, hijo. No. Nobody can touch me. Because I'm Pablo Escobar, and I'm immortal. But as Pablo says this, he knows it's a lie. Everyone is mortal. Especially someone like him. Juan Pablo starts crying. I don't want to be scared. Don't be scared, Pablo says, crying now himself. I'm here. I'm always here. They sit like that for a while, father and son, in a dark room, as the world spins around them. Then Pablo gently pulls his son back, looks into his eyes. Juan Pablo, now I'm going to give you the most important lesson of your life. Are you ready? Juan Pablo wipes his tears, nods his head. Listen to me, Pablo says. Power is important. Money is important. Authority is important. But none of these are more important than family. I can conquer the world, make billions, become the most powerful man. But if I lose you, your mother, Manuela, I have nothing. Do you understand? Juan Pablo nods. That's why, Pablo continues, I'm making you a promise. One day, maybe soon, maybe much later, I'll have to make a choice. Power or family, money or you, authority or peace. And when that day comes, I will choose you. I will always choose you. Promise? Juan Pablo asks. Promise, Pablo says. Pablo Escobar's promise. And my word is worth more than gold. Juan Pablo smiles, hugs his father. I love you, Papi. I love you too, hijo. More than anything in the world. That night, at 3 a.m., Pablo Escobar gave his son the most important lesson of his life. And Juan Pablo never forgot. Years later, in 1993, when Pablo was running on the rooftop, surrounded by police, his last thought was of his family. His last words were to his family. Because that night, in those 10 minutes, the promise he made to his son was real. Power, money, authority, all passed. But the lesson Pablo gave his son remained in Juan Pablo's life forever. Juan Pablo lives today as Sebastian Marroquin, away from his father's legacy, a peaceful life. But he still remembers that night. He remembers the tears in his father's eyes. And most importantly, he remembers that lesson. Family is more important than everything. The lesson Pablo Escobar gave his son lasted 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes shaped Juan Pablo's life, his fate, his future. Because that night Pablo taught his son the greatest truth. Real power is protecting your family. Everything else is just noise.